Geeta Mohan as well as Joe Truzman, Middle East expert, is now joining me on the broadcast.
Joe, very good morning. Joe Truzman is a research analyst who focuses on Palestinian armed groups, also associated with FDD and Longboard Journal. Joe, thank you so much for joining us here on India Today. Beginning with the entire attack itself, explain to us what really happened. How meticulously did Hamas really plan this attack? They knew the entry, they knew exit with hostages, and they also knew how to retaliate after having moved out, and the helicopters, the Israeli copters that tried to go into bomb, they took copters down as well. So how well planned and meticulously planned was this entire Hamas attack? Unprecedented, if I may say so.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely. Unprecedented is the word. That's what happened. This isn't an attack that took days to plan. This is an attack that likely took years. It has been years in the making. Now, this isn't only a Hamas-led attack. I've identified at least a dozen armed Palestinian terrorist groups that have joined in, that have participated in this surprise attack in southern Israel. Some of them infiltrated Israel through the air, land, and sea. Others provided cover or they used diversionary tactics by launching a massive amount of rockets at Israeli cities in Israeli communities in southern Israel and in central Israel, and even as far as Jerusalem during this infiltration into southern Israel. Something like this, like I said before, with the amount of coordination it takes between almost approximately a dozen armed groups, it takes time, okay? And so this has been in the making for a long time, but unfortunately, it seems that Israel was not aware of this, and now we see the consequences of what happened.
Well, that's the most important point, Joe. Focusing on the fact that Israel was caught completely unawares. What's your assessment on the intelligence failure, the failure by the defense forces? What happened to Mossad's listening posts? How much of this entire attack would you put on intel failure?
Apologies. Can you repeat the question?
The fact that you just spoke about intelligence failure, Joe just wanted to understand how much of it is because of intelligence failure, listening posts not activated, and a defense failure, particularly when it comes to the Israeli defense forces.
Right. The problem is we're in the initial stage of this conflict, of this war, actually. It's not just a conflict, it's a war, it's like Israel has said. So I think it's still early to say, okay, exactly what happened. I am sure there will be investigations afterwards. However, it's clear that there was a failure in the intelligence system on the Israeli side, especially like I previously said, the amount of groups that are involved in this attack. It's very hard to keep something like this a secret, especially from Israeli intelligence. So I think the best approach is to wait, but it is certainly being seen as an intelligence failure.
But which is why I was also asking, what happened to the listening posts in Gaza? If this was meticulously being planned for so long, how is it that the Israeli forces, who do have a huge penetration within Gaza, have listening posts there, did not pick up any of the chatter? How sophisticated was this entire operation?
Of course, that's I think what's one of the top questions that needs to be answered. How listening posts or intelligence that is picked up from Gaza wasn't picked up basically by the Israeli security forces. I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately. Somehow it happened, but and I think it will be answered, but not now.